Hi everyone, and welcome back to Cooking in Pink Boots. And today I've got a very interesting pastry dough recipe for you. As a matter of fact, it makes 3 different pastry dishes. Yes, I said 3 different pastries, 1 dough recipe. And trust me when I say you and the family are going to love them all. Starting with my super soft sugar coated twist donuts, then my pillow soft Mama Q's ear donuts, and my coconut creamy and moist Pani Popo. These pastry dishes are all so delicious, and I'm about to show you how it's done. Well, I, along with my Mama Q herself, who is joining me today, showing me some old school tips and tricks, and now that she's got her pink boots on, we can get started. Now for the ingredients and measurements needed for the dough. 1 cup of warm water between 110 and 115 degrees, 4 tablespoons of white granulated sugar, 2 teaspoons of instant yeast, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 large egg at room temperature, 3 1/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, 3 tablespoons of softened butter, 2 tablespoons of oil, and I will also be using 2 additional tablespoons of flour for working my dough, and a few cups of oil for deep frying my donuts. Alright, now for our pastry toppings and coatings, starting with my twist donuts. I'll be coating them using a mixture of 1/3 of a cup of white granulated sugar and 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And to top my air donuts, I'm using about 2 tablespoons of confectioners or powdered sugar. And for my Pani Popo, I'm using 1 can of coconut milk and 1 cup of white granulated sugar. Now, let's get started with our dough. Oh, and by the way, you can find the exact ingredients and measurements used on this video on the description box below. Alright, now in a large bowl, add the warm water, yeast, sugar, vanilla, and the egg. Now mix vigorously till the egg is fully incorporated and foamy bubbles have formed at the top. Now add in your flour and salt and just combine all the ingredients together, being sure to scrape all the flour off the sides of the ball. And mix till a dough forms. Then, using clean hands, continue mixing. Now don't worry about it being nice and smooth, just be sure all the flour is incorporated, and then pat together and cover for about 20 minutes, and do not exceed that time. Now immediately after 20 minutes, add in your softened butter. As seen in this video, try to get it as incorporated as you can by massaging it into your dough. And once it has come together, using your additional 2 tablespoons of flour, sprinkle down a little at a time on a clean flat surface and start working your dough. And when I say working it, I mean get a little rough with it. As you can see, I'm slapping it down to the countertop, then folding and kneading. And I'm going to repeat that for about 5 minutes to strengthen the gluten in our very hydrated dough. Now, with the flour being applied to your surface, the dough should somewhat dry a bit, making it much easier to work with. And once it becomes nice and smooth, form a ball. Now here you want to pour the 2 tablespoons of oil into a large ball and rub it all around the entire ball, even around the top rim. Then place your dough inside, cover with a saran wrap, then a dishcloth over that, and allow it to rise in a warmer area for about 50 minutes to an hour. Then once your dough has risen, gently punch out the gases and fold the sides in. Then place your dough back onto your lightly floured surface. Alright, now at this point, the next steps all depend on what we're about to make. So let's start with my sugar twist donuts. Now as soon as you get your dough onto your surface, form it into the shape of a loaf. And using a rolling pin, you want to roll out your dough about the size of a 9 by 13 inch baking pan. And then, using a pastry cutter or pizza slicer, you want to slice 12 logs, starting with slicing straight down the middle, then into 4, and then making 3 logs with each section of the 4. And you should get 12 even logs. Gently roll out each individual log till smooth. And now you can always just form your twist on the table Or as Mama Q is doing here, holding up each log by the center and simply swinging one half around the other, forming a quick twist, and securing the ends by pinching them together. Now, place on a lightly floured pan and cover for about 10 minutes. Then just fry till golden brown on all sides. Then place them onto a cooling rack and simply coat it by rolling it in your sugar and cinnamon mixture. Or if you prefer plain sugar, it's all about how you like it, remember? All right, now just enjoy the soft, cottony texture of these sweet and delicious twist donuts. Now, let's move on to pastry number 2 that I call Mama Q's Air Donuts. Why, you ask? Because she took this very dough recipe and cooked it in the form of our island of Guam's local donut called Banalas Mangla, and it turned out so pillowy soft, airy, and delicious. I just had to name it after her. So let's get started with Mama Q's Air Donuts. Now, just follow all the same steps of making the dough, only this time you want to roll out your dough really thin. You can also cut your dough in quarters to make this process easier. Now, once your dough is nice and thin, using a pastry or pizza cutter, cut out little squares or diamond shapes. Then, right before you drop them into your hot oil, line them up in threes and give it one more good roll to thin it out even more. Now, immediately place them into the hot oil before they rise back up again. And once it hits that oil, it should quickly poof up like a pillow. Now, be sure to keep a good eye on them to prevent it from burning because they are quick to brown. And once it's nice and golden on each side, it's ready to come out and onto the cooling rack. Then coat with either your sugar cinnamon mixture or my favorite topping for it, confectioners or powdered sugar. Then just sit back and enjoy that airy, light melt in your mouth goodness of Mama Q's Air Donuts. And now, pastry number 3, my Pani Popo. Guys, this coconut creamy deliciousness of a pastry will have you in awe. I mean, I've had people who don't care for coconut at all enjoy this dish, and they came back for more. So trust me when I say this sweet and succulent pastry is outstanding. So let's get started, shall we? And once again, follow all the steps in making the dough. Then roll out your dough to the size of a 9 by 13 inch baking pan. And using a pastry cutter or pizza slicer, cut out 20 to 24 squares and simply roll each one like a meatball and place them close together on a baking pan that had been sprayed lightly with non-stick cooking spray, and cover it with saran wrap for about 15 minutes. Meanwhile, in a medium-sized ball, combine your 1 can of coconut milk with your 1 cup of sugar, and be sure to mix it very well, getting your coconut milk nice and smooth. All right, now after your bread has rested for 15 minutes, simply pour over 3/4 of your coconut milk mixture right over your dough, getting as much as you can in between and on top of your bread. Being sure to reserve 1/4 of that mixture to drizzle on afterwards. Now place your bread dough in the oven that had been preheated at 350 degrees and cook for about 15 to 20 minutes or until your bread is nice and golden at the top. Then pull out your bread and pour over the remaining coconut milk mixture and enjoy this sweet and coconut creamy dessert. As a matter of fact, get the entire family, especially the kiddies, to enjoy them all with you. Well, thank you all so much for watching my video, and I hope you all enjoyed it. And please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for alerts on more upcoming food adventures with me, Charlene, from right here in my kitchen, where every day I'm cooking in pink boots. With her, of course. Bye.